everyone. I'm happy to be here on stage of SaaS Nation for the second time, and happy to see so many SaaS people, SaaS enthusiasts today. I've been to SaaS-tr conference in the US, and they have a lot of presentations and whole streams of discussions related to company culture. I think we are not talking enough about it here in Kiev, so it's a good opportunity to discuss this thing. Could you raise your hand if you manage people, if you're like company founder or maybe team leader? Actually, like most of you. So my presentation will be from the position of company founder and CEO, and I'll share my views on company culture, but it will be really useful actually and helpful, I think, to everyone. If you don't manage people, but you're employee, you have a lot of benefits if your company have a strong culture and you have a role, in building this thing. We don't talk again about company culture because sometimes it feels like a bit philosophical and intangible. But I'll try to make my presentation as practical as possible. We can talk for hours, but we have limited time, so let's get to it. To give you some context about ourselves, we are B2B SaaS, YouScan. YouScan is an artificial intelligence-powered product for social media monitoring, social media listening. So we help big consumer brands and agencies, like these brands, local brands and international brands from Coca-Cola to Google, Nova Pošta to Rozetka, MAU, etc., to track what people say about their products, their services on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, blogs, forums. And we apply AI, machine learning, to get insights by analyzing texts and also by analyzing and recognizing images that posted on social media. We are expanding internationally pretty quickly. We serve more than 500 of such clients at the moment, and we have 90 people on a team in 5 cities, and the team is growing very quickly. In fact, we had like 1 new person, I guess, like every week this day. So let's first discuss some misconceptions that exist about the company culture. So I think some people feel that like culture, is some corporate bullshit. Like we are, startup. We don't need this thing, discuss our principles. We need to move fast, break things, and yeah, that's it. We are not Microsoft or Amazon. Why do we need to think about these things? But again, if you're a founder or a CEO or even a team leader, you think about it. You're not building like a product, like your SaaS product. What you do as a founder, as a CEO, you build your company. So your company is your product. So, and that means, building, processes, all that stuff that is related to, all these people working together. So, culture is essential component, actually, of building your company as a product. It's a component of your product. And another misconception is that, we don't need, formalized culture. We just need to hire right people. They will work together. Well, everything will be great. Well, there is a problem. Who are these right people? Well, if you're a small team and you're a founder, hiring people yourself, of course, in your head, you know who's right, who's not right. You can make your own decisions and judgment. But as the team grows, there is more diversity. You're like 10 people, you're like 20 people, then 50 people. Maybe as a founder, you don't hire people like yourself anymore. You don't even participate in interviews, maybe. I've just recently stopped actually to participate in the interviews of our new hires, except the most crucial ones. So how do these people who hire new employees know who's right? So you need to have some principles, so everyone understands who should we hire, whom do we want to work with, and company culture is a thing that helps you to build this process as well. So company culture defines who are the right people. So in fact, even if you don't try to formalize your company culture, it already exists. Think about it. There are some habits, some traditions, how people behave, how they interact between each other. And as a company leader, it's better be you who define this culture. And the reason is simple. You want this culture to facilitate your company growth, you want to grow, obviously, but you also want to make your work environment enjoyable for yourself, for your team. What's the reason, in having this growth if you don't enjoy your company that you have built as a founder or as a team leader? You need to have both growth and enjoying your work every day. So with that in mind, we came up in YouScan with what we call YouScan Operating System, or YouScan OS. It consists of culture, mission, our OKRs, metrics, and all the processes and tools that we have. Where do you start with a culture? Maybe you are already convinced that this is important for your company, but as a founder, as a leader, you have so many things to do. Build product. This customer is complaining. Some employees, leaving, joining the competitor. Another competitor just launched with a huge funding. So you have all these issues on your table as a founder. How do you start with this, building company culture? So it's not that difficult, actually. It's not that difficult. And you don't need even HR to do it. You can do it yourself as a company leader. I did it myself a couple of years ago when we didn't have any HR function. Actually, we hired our first HR director, or chief people officer, as we call her, just when we hit 50 employees number. So my process was really simple. I created a draft of values and principles that were important for me, that I wanted my people to exhibit. I made a short slide deck, 10 slides, with all these principles, and why do I think they are important. I shared it with the team, and I created a simple Google Doc form when I asked a couple of questions. Which of these principles do you agree that we already have, and which are important? Which of them are not important in your opinion? What should we add to these principles? Which should we delete? So I collected this feedback. It was not very difficult, and I came up with a slide deck with a presentation of our principles. Here is a link to an article on our blog, so it contains the whole details on the process and even example of this Google form that I used to collect feedback. And actually, it contains our slide deck with our culture principles. So what makes an efficient culture? First of all, it has to reflect values specific to yourself and your team. So we value teamwork, for example. It's not something specific to your company. Everyone can say that. It makes sense to everyone, right? But you have some things that are specific to you and your people. So that should be on your slide deck. Next, your company culture should evolve. It's not like you have created it once and it stays forever. You hire more people, your company scales, you change your processes, and you have to update your company culture along with it. And we are in the process, actually, of updating our company culture with feedback of all the new people that we have on the team since we first published our culture deck. And it is actionable. This is probably the most crucial thing. So the company culture should be used, in making daily decisions in your company. I think the reason that some people think that culture is a corporate bullshit is that because some people see the situations where company culture is just a number of slogans, good things, we value teamwork, and that's it. And no one knows how to apply it in their daily work. But it should be actionable. It should be helpful to, hire people, fire people, make decisions when there is some uncertainty, because you really can't formalize all the processes. And having, common ground, common set of rules, it helps your team to make decisions when there is no instruction or no information available, or no best way to do it. So here is an example of our one of our slides. about efficient culture. So it's separated into 3 blocks: what, why, and how. So for example, we collect data from social network. So like it can influence, it's sensitive data. It can influence, people. So we decided that one of our principles should be like ethical treatment of this data. And how do we apply it? Like here is a list, of action points. So we collect only public data. So for example, it helps us to make decisions. Like customer comes to us and asks, like, can you monitor, I don't know, this closed community or, this non-public group on Facebook? We say like, no. In our culture, we treat data ethically. We don't collect, non-public data. We don't work with organizations that can use data from social media in unethical way, for spamming or manipulation or prosecution of people. So that's an example how the principle translates into actionable way of applying it in your daily decision making. Yeah. So another principle that we have in our company is transparency. I really believe that as much information as possible should be open to all of your team, that it makes people make informed decisions, and everyone feels really involved. So for that reason, we have a dashboard with open metrics. It's a Google spreadsheet document where we have all top-level managerial stats, like number of customers, like metrics like cost of customer acquisition, churn rates, NRR, stuff like that. And we even disclose revenues, expenses, our financial results to all the team on a monthly basis. It actually feels that people appreciate it. And every month, we send status report where we collect, input from all the department leaders, and we share the information with the team, like what happened during the month, like which new customers we won, whom we lost, why, which were our financial results, what's the big picture. So everyone stays on top of things and understand where do we move, what's our strategy, what are our problems, bottlenecks, and so on. We share customer feedback really open in the company, and I think this is one of the reasons actually why our product team, development team is so motivated, so involved. Sometimes I'm shocked to see guys making deployment on production at 2 a.m. in the morning, like they really want to improve the product all the time because they see real feedback from real customers. We use a number of tools for that, of course, Intercom. We use NPS surveys, which we stream directly to our Slack, and everyone can see, in real time this feedback, good and bad, from our customers. We share, feedback in ideas and cases channel in Slack with all the details of, problems that are experienced by customers. And it helps, everyone to stay on top of things and feel involved and, improve the product. Another principle that we have is continuous improvement. We have built our company without a huge funding. We raised a couple of rounds, but we are pretty capital efficient. So one of the reasons that we were successful, is that we always try to outsmart our competition, to be, better, more, agile, experiment more, come up with some new things that they don't do. So continuous improvement is in our DNA, you might say. And we apply this culture principle. We make it actionable, and one of the examples of that is that we pay bonuses for people for the books that they read. Actually, not only business books. So it can be like any book. It can be like history, science, like biography, sociology, like everything. Non-fiction book. They publish a review, like meaningful review in our Slack channel, and they get paid. Like we want, people to improve themselves not only as a narrow-minded professionals, like I'm a lead generator, or I'm a, SDR. We want them to improve their erudition, be educated, have a lot of ideas from different spheres of knowledge and life. So that's why our continuous improvement means paying people bonuses for the books they read. We have growth meetups when we invite some interesting speakers, and they come to our office and make some presentations. Actually, today we have this meetup where one of our customers from agencies is coming to our office and talking about their business, their business processes. Actually, if you would like to tell us something interesting about things that you are passionate about your business maybe, we would be happy to invite you so you can share your experience with the team. It doesn't have to be, again, only business related. So for example, I don't know if you're enthusiast of rocket science, come and speak about it. We'll be happy. We have Innovation Fridays. So each Friday our development team is free to do any experiments that they want to do, to work on side projects not related to our core product, to test new frameworks, read new papers about new machine learning techniques, and so on. That's continuous improvement in action. We use OKRs. How many of you know what OKRs are? Like quite a few of you know. For those who don't know, I will not go into the details, but OKRs are very popular goal-setting framework, objectives and key results, which were invented by Intel, popularized by Google. It's really actually useful to set up strategic direction and measurable goals for the company, for the departments. So here are our OKRs. I just removed some sensitive stuff, but actually we are transparent. We're sharing our experience. So people-related objectives and results are the part of company strategy. So our objective, one of our objectives for this year, is make employees happy and productive, and we have actionable metrics to track how we are doing on that front. Company mission is also really important. I think, again, some people think, mission is a corporate bullshit, but no. The theory of motivation is well known. You need to have, some hygienic level, of satisfaction at work, like good salary, good office, obviously. But these days, I think we all, as people, as employees, want to, have some meaning in our work and do some meaningful stuff. So not only like get money, get paid, come back from office, back home, but make some good stuff for the world, change the world. Maybe it's actually not so easy for a B2B company to come up with a good mission statement, which will be meaningful and motivating. But in our case, we iterated quite a lot on this mission statement and came up with this. We help companies become better by listening to their consumers online. If you think about it for a second, it has a meaning because it means that we are helping companies to become better. They listen to their customers on social media, their complaints, their desires. They improve their products and services. And these people, consumers like you and me, we benefit from companies making their products better. So it makes sense. We are not, only serving our customers, but we are doing good thing for, everyone, for consumers. And that's a part of our culture and motivation. Yeah, I don't have much time yet, actually, but a couple of things that we also employ as part of our processes and the YouScan Operating System is mandatory one-on-ones. So that's regular meetings that we have with, I have with team leaders, and team leaders have with their employees. I really recommend it. Like a mandatory process that you need to have in your company to gather feedback on a regular basis. We are growing as a team, so we decided that we want, people to communicate more between different departments. Sometimes they are not, so actively engaged in daily work, but we want them to, speak to each other, exchange ideas, opinions. So we came up with this idea of lunch roulette. We choose, each week, 4 random guys from a team, and we give them money, and they go to a business lunch. I post a selfie to our Slack channel. That's the great way to make the team, more friendly, working together. And as we have employees in other offices, not only in Kyiv, we came up also with the idea of not small talk. That's the way we encourage people from different cities to talk to each other, not only about their daily work. So we create 2 questions for people. For example, do you like your city? Or how was your education useful for you? Or do you think that gambling should be banned? So we give people some ground, to start the discussion, not only say, hello, how's the weather in Kyiv? Yeah. So they get on a call, they discuss this thing, they know each other better, they post selfies. Again, it works really well. So how do I know it works? Yeah, I'm approaching the end of my presentation. Well, I have some metrics to rely on that our, culture and processes really make us, successful. And a couple of examples. This is rating on Dow. I don't like the design of this slide, but the idea is that we have very high eNPS. For those of you who don't know what is eNPS, this is Employee Net Promotion Score. It's similar to the questions that you ask your customers. How likely would you recommend our product? So you ask your employees, how likely would you recommend our company to your friends as a good place to work? So we collect that feedback. That's an industry standard way of measuring employee satisfaction. And our eNPS that we measure for the 2nd year already is really, really high. I gave some benchmarks here. It's actually top of the spectrum. And of course, there is a business side of the results. Our revenues are growing around 100% year of year, and I really contribute a lot of this growth to having, a very good company culture. And this is the last slide. Besides, these hard metrics, it also feels because, for example, these guys were leaving the company, moving to another country for family reasons. So in his farewell message, he said, I won't be lying if I say that YouScan is the best company in my life, worked from every perspective, spirit of freedom and creativity, absence of management bullshit and intrigues, overall level of humor. Yeah, so he really loved his job in YouScan. That's the way the culture works. I wish you all build a strong culture that will help you to grow your business and make it more enjoyable for you and for your teammates. Thanks.